Till I get up, time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust.
Bring a ballsy, bring a ballsy. Just about to go live on YouTube, my friends. Go live at 7:30. So
we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow to the sun rays.
See you in a bit, my friend. Bye-bye.
We'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world. I hope you're well, hope you're fine. My name's Karl Smith from the UK Hypnosis Academy, and thanks very much for everybody who's been attending these evening sessions with us. So, bit of a change in plans tonight. It's called the Problemus Calendaris Chitus. Basically, we've got the calendar wrong. So, Paul is not joining us tonight. However, he is definitely with us next Wednesday. So let me just give you the rundown of this week. Unfortunately, StreamYard are actually going to be doing an outage this time on Friday night. So just to give you an idea, tonight is going to be Q&A with me. And then tomorrow night, I've got somebody in the office and we're going to be doing a live session with a fear and phobia. So it's live. I don't know how it's going to go. I don't know what's going to go on. I don't know what techniques I'm going to use, and I don't know where it's going to end up. I might just do a basic session. I might faff around. I'll set the cameras up, so I might be able to do some other bits and bobs as well. But I never know. You never know where the session is going to go. So I'll do that. The thing is that I just can say a big apologies about Paul, but he will be on next week. But just to say that Q&A tonight, so get your questions ready now. Pump them into the pump them in anyway into here, and we'll do a Q&A tonight. There isn't any question tonight. There's no competition tonight because I made a boo-boo, so somebody else won it this week. I'll announce it in a moment. But the long story short is we're going to do Q&A tonight, a live session on Thursday night UK time, and then on Friday we're having a night off, and it's not my fault. It's not my fault. Anyway, guys, don't forget, right? If you are using Facebook, please make sure that you give StreamYard permissions to utilize your name, because otherwise it'll come up. NVM is my fault. Got it. I don't know who that is, and so it's because you don't know who it just doesn't do. It doesn't recognize you on the system. Brandon is always the first one. Vic, Max, hope you're well, buddy. David McHugh, hope you're well. Max, where are we? Where we got here? James, hope you're well, buddy. Subliminals for you. Mario, hope you're well, hope you're fine. Simon, hope you're well. Who we got? Shane Swaney, out of the box. Jules, great to speak to you today. Eric, always good to see you, buddy. Jackie Brennan, great to speak to you today, darling. Thanks very much. I do feel great. I actually do feel quite good. Actually, I'm gonna Jackie knows this. I got caught out today. Last night, right? Hello, Roger. Hi, Right Price. Paul Johnson, evening, buddy. Roger Lee Shuttlewood, hello, buddy. Is that I haven't had we were talking about looking after yourself last night, and something happened today, and I had to shoot off, and I should have been in a meeting today at 4 o'clock, but I got literally waylaid with something else and had to stop and pull over at services on the A12. However, that ended up being a McDonald's, and I haven't had a McDonald's now, and I've figured it out tonight. 2 years is the last time I last had a McDonald's, and I will tell you now that I didn't enjoy it, and I really do mean that. I didn't enjoy it. I did sneakily have a milkshake, and I will say that was the best thing about it. But on the same token, the other shite that came with it was crap. So I will do that before Jackie drops me in the shite tonight. Letty, hope you're well, hope you're fine. So yes, look after yourself, look after your diet, but then the next day have a McDonald's. And I didn't mean to. It's 2 years, absolutely 2 years since I last had a McDonald's. Unbelievable. And I don't think that I will be rushing back this weekend. So guys, Q&A tonight is Q&A. Don't forget, bang your questions in, as long as they're all right. I'd eat that, no nut. All right, my friend. And Oh, I hope you're well. Hope you're fine. Jordan, hope you're well. Hope you're fine. Guys, if you've got any questions, anything to do with hypnosis, anything to do with um, um, business, anything to do with anything that we do within this profession and not psychotic behavior. Mario, let's do this. By the way, I'm not reading them, so I could end up doing anything. Did you ever experience that peer TIA influenced the IMR process? I recently got a weak yes, and after that, 8 no's, even though the question is your name. Well, that's quite interesting actually, because on IMRs, when you're working with IMRs, you're doing parts therapy or anything like that, you have to be prepared for any eventuality. I've had the same situation there where you're just asking somebody a name, is your name Karl? And it goes, no. Well, run with it. Okay, can you say your name? There's nothing wrong with getting people to talk during a hypnosis session. People seem to think, oh, you can't get them to talk. Yes, bloody well get them to talk, because they may be talking in a different part, that subconscious, unconscious, that monkey brain may be wanting to communicate in a different form. I don't know. I've heard drivel, bobbins, rubbish before come out of people's mouths, but it doesn't matter. It still works. So in the eventuality, if you do get a lot of no's on something, chase it somewhere else. Go investigate. That's the beauty about this, is about being, you're right. You're like an investigator. That's what you're doing. You're consistently investigating, always investigating. You're always trying to find any nook and cranny that you can sweep down, and reframing questions. The same question, if you get a no, but reframing it is always a different way as well. So I hope that answers the question as well. Big Mac suggestion. Yeah, absolutely. Yep, Jackie, I've done it before you dropped me in there. Okay, one on bruxism. Grinding teeth clients, you reckon this is more behavioral issue or stress and tension issue? I believe it's stress and tension. I will get Beryl Komar on here one night to do hypnodontics, and she was on here the other night, funny enough. But if Beryl's on here, I'll get Beryl to do some hypnodontics to talk about bruxism. And it's I've always worked with the stress. I've always worked the stress element of it. And that's the way I've always thought about it. And I always deal with the person first, then the issue later. Does that make sense? That's why the emotional detox was born, because I deal with the person first, clear out all the shite, and that may collapse any beliefs or values and crap that's been hanging around. So I always deal with the stress and the tension with that. So I hope that helps. It's a weird question. What's your take on psychedelics or smoking weed and self-hypnosis? Whatever floats your boat. Whatever floats your boat. I mean, as an ex-police officer, you'd probably expect a different answer, but with the amount of science and everything that's gone into it, it's float your boat. I think I think in any situation like this, what you've got to do is A, is it legal where you are? That's the first thing. And B, don't get caught. And C, moderation, and make sure that you know what you're doing with the stuff. I mean, I'm not here to prescribe or give advice. It's always dangerous like this because people can misconstrue it. But I think at the end of the day, if it's legal where you are, like in LA or Vegas, I know in Los Angeles and many other states in America, and in Canada, like British Columbia, quite all right to go into it and go buy a joint and smoke it, on the streets, and go into like a little supermarket. And I've been into the little supermarkets in Las Vegas and looked at all the gummy bears and all the sweets and all the roll made joints and all that type of stuff. That's all there. Look, that's a legality question, isn't it? At the end of the day, is it legal where you are? That's the first question. Second thing is make sure that you know that you're in the parameters. But these things work. They've been working way for many years. So who am I to say? I hope that answers your question. Tinnitus, tinnitus or tinnitus? Tinnitus. Okay. If anyone is dealing with tinnitus, this is one of the key things. What technique should I use with tinnitus? Right. First stop. Right. The first thing to do with tinnitus or tinnitus, wherever you are in the world. Tinnitus, obviously the ringing in the ears. Now I've got hearing aids. They're not here with me at the moment. I've had to send them back, but I have hearing aids because mine is a structural damage. The first thing that you should do if you get somebody with tinnitus, wherever you are in the world, tinnitus, is send them back to an ear, nose and throat specialist to get these things checked out properly. And I'll tell you for why. Because if they are structurally damaged, like mine's damaged due to 20 plus years of firing guns, big guns, little guns, and high explosives and flashbangs and all the other things that I thought were fun at the time. And everyone said, "What's your hearing?" And I'm going, "Shut up. I'm too big and bold for this stuff." It turned out that I actually did put a little patch on my eardrum. So I have tinnitus at the moment. I have tinnitus. Now, the hearing aids are only there to mask them. If you get somebody with tinnitus, send them to ENT first. If the ear, nose, and throat specialist says we cannot find anything structurally wrong, then go work with it. Do whatever you want with it. You can use old pain to go, whatever you like, whatever technique. Don't forget techniques. You can use any technique you like that you've ever been taught, right? This is really important, right? If you've been taught a technique and it's like for a specialist subject, try it with something else because it'll bloody well work. Do whatever you want. Just throw the kitchen sink at it, all right? But that's a key thing there. And then go from there. Bruxism is mostly repressed anger and frustration. Daniel Gannett, I know hypnodontics, and I know where that came from as well. I'll agree and partially disagree, right? And I get that. And at the end of the day, it could be anything. It could be anything. I get what you're saying on that. And I know Cheryl and Larry, and I know Beryl very, very well. I love them very dearly. However, I think that's a little bit too specific, but you are right at the same time. All right, if that makes sense. So thanks very much. Weed equals paranoia, Carl. Would you class that as psychosis and contraindicate them? Well, it all depends what that drug psychosis is. If they're having that drug psychosis while out of taking the alcohol or the weed, then yes. However, that's not for me to say. All right, that's not for me to say. I have to be cautious when I'm talking on here because there are people that prowl around listening to my words and then fire it into Facebook groups and say, "Guess what you just fucking said." So I'm just saying that that I would go look at what psychosis is. But the psychosis is that if they're not on, if they're having LSD and they're having a moment, of course that's right, that's induced. However, if it's not and it's afterwards and it just continues thereafter, that's where I see that to be. But we have a different take on cannabis and LSD over here compared to where Max and who else was in California just then? I think Shane is as well. But yeah, there's a different approach over there. When you're in California, you go to little boutiques, you go to little shops. If you go to I don't know where the boys live, where the Californians live, but if you go to Venice Beach, there's like 18-year-old kids wearing white jackets that usher you into little shops and say, "Tell me what your problem is." And then you say, "Oh, I've got a little bit of stress." And they go, "Oh, this is really good for that one." And you take these gummy bears. And that's what happens. That's literally what happens. But then you have to get a certified doctor, however certified that person is. But that certified doctor then has to sign it off. It's quite interesting, actually. You only have to have a driving license. So if you ever go to California or Vegas, not that I partake or don't anymore. Anyway, right, what we got here? Shane, I got to ask to hypnotize a group of 30 people over Zoom for a personal development retreat. Any techniques on what techniques you'd use or avoid? They're specifically asked to block removal sessions. Right, this is quite an interesting one, Shane. When you're working with 30 plus people at once, I would say on average, you're going to get 3 people in that room that have got a big pile of shit ready to come out. My opinion is on this, and my advice to you, and I've done this before, is just give them the experience. Don't bother with trying to do therapy, because you may get one, because there's no way that you can grab it. When I run a course and I've got 30 people in a room, 30, 40 people in a room, I have other trainers with me. So if we pop one by accident, we can get hands on, get the person away, get them resolved, get it sorted. Over Zoom, you're not going to have that beauty. And you're going to have to try to manage the group that aren't popping with the person that is popping. So my advice is merely just give an experience or give an insight into hypnosis. don't bother delving too hard. I wouldn't bother doing emotional detox or anything like that. Send them to a nice, beautiful place. Take them to the mystical place, the magical place, somewhere that's really powerful for them, and to just feel that new energy, something along that lines. Don't go digging too hard. Because I'll tell you now, and from experience, it will come back and bite you in the ass. So I hope that answers your question, Shane. Where are we? I'm just trying to go through these. Sorry, I'm like, hi, Janet. James, could you say, with content-free hypnosis, the hypnotist guides the client to make the changes while in hypnosis? With scripted hypnosis, the hypnotist trying to make the changes by applying hypnosis? Absolutely. So what you're trying to do with a script is, my mind is always, and this is the top tip I always give everybody, the issue is never the issue. You've heard me say that before. If a client comes in for anxiety, it's got nothing to do with anxiety. Somebody's coming in for weight loss, it's got nothing to do with weight loss. They're the bits that are showing, they're the bits that are up here. All right. So the key thing is that the issue is never the issue. So when somebody goes, oh, I've got a client coming in next week and I'm going to write a script for anxiety, well, it's got fuck all to do with anxiety. It's got nothing to do with that. The point being is that lots of trainers say, well, it gives them a structure. It gives them wordage and verbiage. Well, if you taught them proper hypnosis in the first place, you wouldn't need to give them all the wordage and the verbiage like that. Now, that's the difference between me as a direct hypnotist, somebody very direct, I'm Ellmanian, I'm very direct. I'm probably more direct than bloody Ellman by the sounds of things. But the thing is, and I mean that respectfully, by the way, before anyone goes crying off, is that I'm very direct. Whereas Igor Ledachowski, let's say, is very ambiguous. He's very much leaving it open and lots of wordage and verbiage all the time. Well, my point is just open up the subconscious, unconscious monkey brain and let it tell me what to do. When the hypnotist or hypnotherapist is reading a script, they're not actually working with the client. They're working with themselves. A script is, when you put this into a group, oh, but it gives me wordage and verbiage. Yeah, it gives you wordage and verbiage. It doesn't give the fucking client what they need. And that's my biggest thing about this, about scripts. I get having a crib card to understand. And somebody said to me once, oh, the hypnosis cycle's a script. No, it's not. It's a crib card. It's there for you to look at and go, that's what I've got to do next. That's what I've got to do next. Or that's where I could go next. That's what I've always maintained with you guys. Get a sheet of paper, write down all the bloody techniques you've ever done and leave it on the side. So if you are doing it, you can go, I can use that technique. I can use that technique. So the key thing is that that's why scripts don't work, because they're not working directly with the subconscious, unconscious. They're working for the hypnotist, the hypnotherapist, not the client. That's always been it. And that's it. What's that? I think you could say you're a little bit more direct than Ellman. Yeah, I probably I swear more than Dave. If you speak to Larry and Cheryl, they know me very, very well, by the way, and they'd probably tell you the same, that he probably didn't fucking swear as much as me. And that's a fact. He's very eloquent. And by the way, we mentioned this the other day, is that if you can get Hobby Lobby, it's called Hobby Lobby, a brilliant series. I don't know if you know the history of Dave Ellman, but Dave Ellman started off in vaudeville, a circus routine in America. I'm cutting this short, by the way. That started to die as radio kicked in. He then got into the radio scene and then started to use the skills that he picked up in hypnosis and on stage in vaudeville on there. And the Hobby Lobby was his first ever radio show. And Larry, and I always say it to Cheryl every time, get me this one, get me that one, get me those. They're brilliant. If you want to learn how to be eloquent, if you want to learn how the words and the verbs and about how to do it, watch a radio presenter, because they're telling you, they're explaining to you so you can visualize. It's brilliant. That's one thing that Dave Ellman, I've always appreciated his work over, is his Hobby Lobby. If you've never heard of that, go ask Cheryl or Larry Ellman if they can give you copies of Hobby Lobby. And if you want to, for instance, ask them for the nitrogen and the berries. That's a really good one. Now that sounds really weird, but what he does is he gets some liquid nitrogen and there's some berries in a jar and he's rattling them. You can't hear anything. And all of a sudden he pours them in. And the way that he expresses and explains and enunciates is brilliant. It's absolutely great. Like that. Sorry, guys, if I'm going off on that. Right, here we go. Yeah, so Hobby Lobby, Dave Ellman. Over the years, I've had a few requests for autism. I've not accepted to assist them. Have you worked with autism? If so, any suggestions to techniques? I would work with the person, bypass. Don't work with the label, work with the person, Roger. Right. And I mean that unless they are contraindicated, like I did the other day. I'm going to do the contraindications lesson again in a few weeks' time. But the contraindications that I gave the other day, I think you're in the members area. Yeah, if you go to the members area, Roger, you will see the lesson I put up the other day. There's nothing wrong with working with people with autism, Asperger's, and stuff like that. It's about keeping their concentration. It's about keeping that focus, that element. But there's nothing wrong with you teaching them things like EFT, TFT, psychosensory touch, stuff like that, things that would help them. And not just that, don't just teach them, teach the family members. So get them all doing hand rubbing techniques, doing the old sleep talk thing of rubbing the face with, if you haven't seen sleep talk, we did that the other day. It's in the, if you remember, there's a, Cheryl Ellman did the lesson on it the other day with sleep talk. Don't forget, guys, this is a members area. So if you want to buy into the membership, it's only $4.99, $8.99, or $90. Don't forget aficionados, and I've had 4 today. Aficionados, you're more than welcome to call me and book your sessions to get in and do that. All right, and get your sessions in, because the £90 includes having a 45-minute, 45-minute 1 hour session with me. Okay, cool. Is there a safe way of doing an emotional detox on yourself? Absolutely. Absolutely. I can't see why not. I have people telling me that they do it all the time. So I would do that. Nothing's stopping you doing it, my friend. All right. Okay. I'm going to leave that question. Till next week. Can you leave that till next Wednesday, please, Right Price? If you could do that, please, because we have a dermatologist nurse coming on next Wednesday. He is definitely penciled in, and I think he's actually on now. We had called calendar problem fucketupus. I think it's normally the Latin term for that. Basically, the wrong week. It was just a botched job, and it was just a missed thing by me and Paul. So that's why we swapped over tonight. I want you to ask that question next Wednesday at 7:30. Okay. I hope that helps. Sorry, I'd rather get somebody who's a specialist to answer that question. I have my own points of view on that, and what I should and should not say. Okay. And I'd rather get somebody who's got 12 years experience of being in dermatology world than me sitting there spouting off. There's no such thing as curing. You can't cure cancer. You can't do this, that, and the other. But can hypnosis work with skin complaints? Yes. So I'm going to leave that one there for now. Good. Yeah, self-hypnosis is all good stuff. You can do hypnosis on yourself. If I've missed anything, please. If I ever miss a question and I don't get to it, please just cut and paste and bang it back at me. James Ludwig. Oh, there it is there. I was trying to find that one. I will have a client with he can't even bear his own voice. Any clue on how to set hypnosis non-verbal? We've written an explanation first. Good one. Well, I think that's something you're going to have to work with over time by the sounds of it. I can't figure, I wouldn't be able to know why, but I tell you what, I would start off with is teaching the poor bugger something along the line self-help initially, because that doesn't sound like it's going to be a quick in and out job. And I don't want to mislead people. It's not everything about everything's a quick job. It never is. All right. It's client dependent. I had a cracking job the other day coming here, went really, really well. A couple of days later, we've had a little bit of a relapse. Not too bad, but we've had a little bit of a relapse. And we have to expect that. But I've now started to teach him self-help stuff. So that's really helping in the background. And that's something, Ludwig, I would consider as well on there. Any clue on how to set hypnosis non-verbal written explanation? Yeah, you could do. See, I've done non-verbals, but they've got to buy into it as well. What I would start off with first, Ludwig, I'm telling you now, is I would start off with teaching them something like EFT or something like that. If you can get that across to calm everything down. I can't say I've ever come across it. These things happen. I can't say I've ever had that one. Maybe because I talk too much on these videos. Ludwig, have a crack at that. But if you don't, just give me a bell. Yeah, just let me know. Can one treat pain from neuropathy? Well, have you ever watched any of my pain-free tattoos, my pain stuff on YouTube? There's plenty of videos on there working with pain, and going through and disassociating the pain and doing it that way. Um, that's what I would strongly suggest. That Mario, is go have a look at that. Yes, I have worked with pain at an enormous level. Um, but have a look at the videos and then work. See, it's client dependent. It's like today, somebody phoned me up today from and he may well be on here now. Don't say anything, but if you are there watching, but I did have a guy call me from Chicago today talking about COVID, long COVID, and I've just had to be honest with him. It's a 50-50 thing. Pain's the same. I have had great experiences with it, but there you go. There you go. All right, it's just one of those. But yeah. What the client, not the label. What's that? Work with the client, not the label, is now burned in. Very Carl Rogers, an excellent rule. Yes, absolutely. Work with the client, not the label. Always do that. So many therapists get sucked into it because the courses they go on want to bulk out because they're shit at hypnosis. What they want to do is they want to bulk out with loads of other stuff. Now, there is nothing wrong with understanding and having knowledge of certain conditions. That's brilliant. Contraindications, all of that, that's brilliant. But what they tend to do is they forget about the client. They're more worried about loading up the student with a load of shit. I don't know what this is. How long does it take? Does it take to take control of our own inner child? Well, that's some. I'll tell you one thing. I think what you have to do is, if you want to do an inner child work, is you're best off to find somebody who's competent to do that for you. All right, and then I normally get people. Within minutes, I can get people to re-establish that connection. So it can take minutes. It's about just getting that reconnection. You just need to speak to somebody who's competent. You're always welcome to give me a bell and do a session with me live on air if you want. Let's go to the next one. Right. I know you don't advocate hypnosis for grief, but is there a method just to help comfort the person? No. I do advocate it. What I don't advocate is therapists like Grenfell in England when that tower block went up. Oh, let's all rush down to Grenfell and do counselling. That's a load of fucking bullshit, right? I'll tell you that now. What I teach people is if somebody phones up with grief and they phone me up and they talk about grief, I'll talk to them and I give them my time. I appreciate it. The thing is that I don't throw interventions at them straight away because I feel that it's important that the body allows itself to decompress and do what it needs to do itself. Now, I always give my number to the person, say, look, give me a bell in a couple of weeks' time. Let me know how you're getting on. That's a support measure, right? That's all it is. I'm just saying somebody's there. The next phase is that I won't do anything for about 3 months. I want that dust to settle and them to start doing it. And if they're not at that point, then if they're not at the point where they can at least talk about it, then guess what? Then I will throw an intervention in. However, it's softly catch a monkey with that one. And that's what I say to people with grief. They just want to run into it. They just want to run in. They just want to, I just throw a technique at it. Let's do this and the other. Let the fucking body do what it needs to do. Let the person grieve. How many times do we hear people go, I don't think we grieve. I listen to what's called Times Radio, right? And I was dropping William, my son, off at school this morning, listening to Times Radio, and there was a very sad story on there about a lady, and very, very brave lady. Honestly, I've never had anything like it. And it's 10 months ago today that the incident happened in Beirut, where the ammonium nitrate exploded when the fireworks kicked off, and it blew Beirut apart. And she was talking about 10 months ago. She was talking about her son that was basically cut in half by the window as it blew through. And she was just on Times Radio just talking about it. But one thing that she did say is that she's been busy. She's been writing a book about it. She's been doing this. She works for the UN. Anyone who's Anyone who's in the UK, you mind you, if you want to, you can probably find the Times radio. You can listen to that. It was on, I think it was on at about, it must have been about 9 o'clock this morning. I'll see if I can find it for you. But it was really intriguing listening to her. And she was talking about the bomb blast and about how her son died in that incident, but she's kept herself busy. And she actually said, I don't think I've been given time to grieve yet. And the way that her voice was talking, I was thinking there was no, and I mean this respectfully, by the way, there was no whimper, or there was no, I'm a father, and I could never, one wish I have in life is that I go before my children. There is no, and any parent I think knows what I mean by that, is that, but there was nothing. And I just thought, and when she said afterwards, she goes, I don't think I've had time to grieve because everyone's been giving me stuff and doing stuff and trying to support me. I'm like, yeah, that's why. And that's the reason why that I let grief just let it run its course. I just let people know there's a telephone there. If you need me, call me. If you don't need me, that's fine. But you know that I'm there. I give it about 3 months and then I'll teach them some EFT and some stuff like that. All right. And then go from there. I work in Beirut and I work with many victims of the Beirut blast. Yeah, 10 months ago today. Yeah, it's quite interesting, really. And on the 4th of every month, I believe it is. I think it's the 4th of every month. Correct me if I'm not control. That they have that the government haven't done anything yet, and the government even haven't given any money out yet. So it's just one of those things. By the way, if I haven't answered any question correctly, or you don't think I have done yet, then please just cut and paste, or just say, Karl, you're an idiot, you've missed it. I managed to get the pain down from 7 to 3, but it returned the next day to a 7. Interesting. Is it Mario? Is it you? By the way, or is it a client? There you go. See, look, I am an informed little creature, aren't I? Yep. Every 4th of the month, I believe it is, that because the Beirut government, the government resigned, so there's nobody in power over there at the present moment in time to do anything. Good, Mario, call me tomorrow and I'll help you out. What's this? I'm rubbish at rebooking. If I tell people to see that I need to come back and follow up with an email, I often don't hear back. They say they feel better, and I'm not sure. Charge higher. I'm just going to say one thing. You're doing a grand job. Charge higher. Just charge higher. If you're doing a great job, charge higher. You're not charging enough. Yeah, okay, Angela. Yeah, so I mean, after I meet with loved ones and stuff like that, I think the key thing is about, I tend to give people my EFT course. Now, this might be an idea for you guys, right? A lot of you seem to think, oh, I can't do my own EFT course and I can't do this because I've got imposter syndrome. You're a fucking therapist. Go get my EFT course and go do your bloody own, right? And then what you do then is you make that as a package. You turn it into a little package, and I'm doing it this week. I think, is it this week we're doing the online course? We're doing the thing is what you do is you just give that to your clients, teach them EFT. Now that's what I would do in that circumstance, Angela. I would let them teach them fundamentally what to do, all of this type of stuff, rubbing their hands together, whatever it is, but teach them that to allow them to then become self-reliant, because they're self-reliant, they're working with themselves. Yeah, they're more responsible for their own actions, and I think that would help more in that situation there. Yeah. And I hope that bit helps you. There's nothing wrong with you getting an EFT course and putting it on your YouTube channel. There's nothing stopping you doing your own little course on EFT. There's no governing body, right? And hopefully I've got somebody special from the EFT world coming on here very soon. So I'm hoping to announce that very soon. So Mr. Craig. So yeah, we're going there. And has that answered your question, Angela? Because I think, grief's one of those things really where, if it's close to home, it's about, they've got to deal with it on their own, and they've got to deal with it. They just need to know that there's support around them. Sometimes people find there's too much bloody support. All right. But I would record something like this, go into a studio and just record your own EFT course and then just give it to them. And have it on a platform or on YouTube where you can just go to them. I want you to do this every day for me, because that will help. You know, it will help you and teach them the SUD scale, subjective unit distress, and all that lot. Outside the box, how is Matt? Is he still enjoying being a non-smoker? Yes, he is. Not even a blip, not even a thought, not even put on 4 tons of weight. None of that bullshit. None of that, because I left that in as a suggestion at the end that it's just a load of old wives' tales. Oh yes, you'll put weight on. It's a load of bullshit. Just tell them at the very end that most people will tell you that you're going to turn into a fat tard at the end of this, but you're not. It's a load of old crap. It's a load of old wives' tales, and they won't do it. All right, leave that as a suggestion. Yeah, so Matt is not smoking anymore, and he's probably watching right now. I don't know if I just answer this. OCD, deal with the person first, then then that. All depends how the OCD is. It's about keeping their concentration. I mean, I've worked with hoarders before, but that's a real long-term job, I believe. These jobs aren't these jobs is the wrong word, sorry. These type of scenarios are not one hit wonders and just wander off. There's a lot more support needed, and it's not just about us waving a magic wand with a little diddy finger and stuff like that. Yeah. Thanks, Ernest. Thanks very much. You're more than welcome. I love doing them as well. Guys, you got any more questions? Rubbish. I'm rubbish at rubbish. Let me just come back to this. Okay. Another thing as well is that is charge higher, right? First thing is charge higher, but the other thing is as well, I get my clients to phone me back 2 or 3 days later. It's their responsibility to call me. I say to them, call me during the day, and my phone's most of the time is my phone going off, and people going, hi there, it's Karl. You know, we had a session the other day, like I said a little while ago, with that chap that we had an enormous result with him the other day. We had 4 days of nothing, and all of a sudden something's starting to reverberate back. So I'm gonna have to hit that again. But on the same token, you know, just get him to call you. Hoarders. Hello, Jennifer. Oh, I was hoping to see you this year. Still am. I really am. And to all my American friends, I'm looking forward to seeing you. I still am. I still have got my flight to Vegas. I've still got my hotel to Vegas, in Vegas, sorted. It's just Mr. Biden is over with us in England at the present moment in time, and hopefully somebody's whispering in his ear at the moment to open up the borders. So anyway, hoarders. Now this could be classed as a severe hoarder, could be contraindicated. That's the one thing I'm going to mention with this first. This could be contraindicated. We could have lots of things going on in there that they're under psychiatric care, and they're under lots of different things that are going on. They may not well, they may not well be, not maybe, maybe not, maybe well. But the thing is that they may well be in some type of psychiatric care, and that's what I've found when I speak to hoarders. And I don't think I've ever had somebody who just collects newspapers. I've gone round somebody's house, and there's bin bags and bin bags of shit and cat feces everywhere. And to be quite honest, I think that you're best off. My personal opinion is, in this case, with hoarders, is that I would strongly suggest that you speak to their GP or psych team if they've got one first, because there is something going on. And it's not going to be an easy job. It's not going to be an overnight job. Simple as that. I keep saying job. I don't mean to sound disrespectful, but that's just the way I talk. And if people don't like it, they can poke it. But on the same token as there, hey, little man's on. So yeah, so I personally think that working with hoarders, depending on where they are with it, if you go around there and there's dead cats laying in there, and I've had that where I've gone, something's dead in here, and then you look over the back and there's like an emaciated cat, and you're like, this ain't gonna work. And so, you know, just refer back to GPs. That's my personal opinion on that one, is that there is something going on. But if you've got somebody who just collects and collects, you know, I could be classed as a hoarder in this office, to be quite honest. I like collecting cameras, and I like collecting watches, but that doesn't make me a hoarder. But yeah, does that answer your question, darling? Good. Any more questions? Have I missed any? If I have missed any, I'm trying to do the best I can. Oh my God, we're at 40 minutes already. Did you ever experience? No, not done that one. Grinding teeth, Bruxism. Yeah, cool. All right, Jordan. Okay, funny enough, that's something that came up tonight with another person going through it. Um, I tend to deal with the person first. I know I sound like a broken record, buddy, but deal with the person first. And about clearing out any of that shite, any shite that's hanging around first, clearing out anything. Because I was dealing with somebody the other day with evening Letty. I don't know if I've seen you before, said hello before. Hello, Letty. Um, um, that when we dealt with the issue, all I did was like an emotional detox. I did a quick clear out at the very beginning. And it was to do with being her mum refused to let her have the hallway light on at night time. And that popped up and it got rid of it. You know, it just dealt with it. I tend to deal with the person first, then the label second. And if you follow that, then you'll probably be a little bit more successful. Some people may disagree. I couldn't give a shit. I really couldn't care. That I just work. I'm more worried about what my clients think about me, not what other people think about me. But hey, have a look at that. Uh, what about a bunch of items like collectibles, not trashed? I don't think that's hoarding. I don't think that's hoarding. I, you know, I collect watches. so, so um, um, I would have I'd go in there and just clear it out, Jennifer. I'd go in there and just and see what they need to do. Maybe calming down, a lot of stress, this, that, and the other. EFT, TFT, maybe throw some other techniques that you may have learned on the way. I am going to start doing more teaching techniques actually on here to help people out. But yeah, just if the way that you got to look at it is it irritating them or is it irritating somebody else? I know me collecting watches irritates people, but it doesn't irritate me. Show us your collection, Seabooze. There's one. I only collect Breitlings, by the way. Good. If you could use only one thing, one technique, what would it be? Well, I think Eddie, and I keep barking on about it with the emotional detox, and the reason that the emotional detox was born and the way that it's been delivered is through years and years and years of going to Vegas, going to California, going to Vancouver, being taught, being taught all over the globe by all of these mystical, magical things and all these great new techniques. And I figured out that most of them are bullshit. And I think that when I started coming out with the emotional detox, I think I started to realize, I started to come around to the fact that the issue is never the issue. And I found that by being more quiet, being quiet and letting the client process, irrespective of whether we use emotional detox or not, um, but allowing the client to process and being more quiet was the key thing. So my personal opinion is that if there one technique that I would say is prolific within all my work, and that is called shutting up. I think that's the best technique that any therapist has in their armory. Shutting up. I think is the best tool, best thing. A lot of therapists, this is where we get the problem with scriptologists. When we get scriptologists with the scriptnosis, is that they're taught to talk, and that's not hypnosis. Hypnosis is about triggering a belief and getting the subconscious, unconscious to just let it do what it needs to do. In my personal opinion, it works for me. It may not work. My processes may not work. But on the same token, I think the best technique for any therapist is shutting the fuck up. That's the best technique. And then use emotional detox. Hoarding versus collecting addiction. Something to check. An example is Professor Gabor Mate, who has an addiction to buy classical music CDs. Yeah, absolutely. Funny enough, I was watching him with Russell Brand earlier today. Funny enough, I was watching some of his work. He's a fairly interesting He's a very interesting person. If you haven't seen any of his work, go watch him. He's doing a load of stuff with Russell Brand at the present moment in time on addictions, I believe it was. Absolutely. Poke the hornet's nest and jump out of the way. Is there research that shows that hypnosis is contraindicated for people with bipolar disorder? Colette, it's something that we indicate. So our Dr. Mark wrote our contraindications lesson. and I stand firmly behind what he tells me. With 35 years as being a GP, bipolar is contraindicated in our lessons. Um, Basically, what we do is we tell our students these are contraindications: psychosis, drug and alcohol psychosis, schizophrenia, narcolepsy, and the list goes on. Bipolar is one of them. Suicidal tendencies, stuff like that. Low heart, heart conditions and stuff like that. But bipolar is on there, and the reason we tell our students that is because it is a red flag, because they may well be on medication and other materials that that may well be contraindicated and stuff like that. Okay, so yeah, so we have it as contraindicated in our lesson plans. Jane, can you explain? But isn't it caused by trauma? Can you explain what? Do you ever tell clients that they will release any residual crap in their dreams at night? Yes. And what I do is, and I haven't got it to hand, is I have my snow globe. And I say to them metaphorically, so don't forget, I'm giving them suggestions. I get the snow globe and I rattle it in front of them. I say, this is what your head's like. At the moment, all of the dust is flying around, furring around. In a moment, some of those pieces are going to trickle down. They're going to come down peacefully and calmly. In the next few minutes, the next few hours, they're going to come down peacefully and calmly. Tonight, some of those pieces are going to come down peacefully and calmly. And you may experience some of that. But tomorrow morning, you're going to wake up really nice. Anything that you want to clear up tonight, or your subconscious unconscious wants to clear up tonight, it will do it peacefully and calmly the way that it does it. And that's the way I do it there. All right. Saeed, if you can call the office tomorrow, please, buddy. Just go to the UK Hypnosis Academy and go to the contact form and bung me a message there. Yes, I can. But they're all interconnected anyway, buddy. They're all interconnected. So by collapsing one, I would knock the whole lot on the head. So, and that's something to consider as well, is that Saeed, you know, God bless you, my friend. PTSD, weight loss, and low self-esteem. I don't see that. I just see about collapsing one and then having a knock-on effect with the others. All right. So yeah, give me a bell tomorrow. But we've got it down as both, Vic, and that's just the way that we've been given medical advice. So we've just got it down. You know, the best thing to do is especially when you're on a diploma, we'll tell you this, and all it is we're telling our students is red flag, something's going on. If they mention that, you're best off to get psych team or GP team support on that. And just say, can you do it? The chances of a GP or a psych team responding to you are very, very, very limited. Like I said, I think I've only had one letter back in 15 years. In fact, that's unfair to say, because probably if I was to take in context when I was started to take it a little bit more seriously, I'd say 10 years. Yeah, they are. I believe so as well, Eddie. I believe now that what dreams are some sort of undisclosed emotional loops that die. Yeah. But everything that we do is a metaphorical journey, isn't it? Everything that our brain does is metaphorical. It's only about colors and algorithms and metaphors. That's all it is. And if it needs to tidy something up or something's in the way, then it'll deal with it that way. Yeah, absolutely. Jane, could you you mentioned that, but isn't it caused by trauma? There are some people, by the way, and this is Saeed. Yes, it can. There are some training materials out there. There are some people out there that teach their students that everything is to do with trauma, drug addiction, alcohol. It's all trauma. It's not. All right. You just have to face facts that some people enjoy it, and that's why they do it. It's got nothing to do with that. It's got nothing to do with trauma in some ways. I don't know if that's the question, but a lot of training people seem to have jumped on this bandwagon about everything is based around trauma. Rubbish. I know people who have had really good upbringings, no trauma whatsoever, and just enjoy cocaine. So there you go. All right. It's got fuck all. It's got nothing to do. You know, everything's trauma. I'm not taking the piss out of you, by the way, Jane. I'm just saying that some training schools seem to just the get out clause is, oh, it's trauma. Oh, it's trauma, like that. Colette, do you feel a psychologist could use hypnotherapy for people with bipolar disorder? Yes, I know. Yes, they can, and I'll tell you for why. Because I teach a lot of psychologists. That type of stuff. I've actually got consultant surgeon and a surgeon in with me next week. They did my little boy who's on here, he's only 2, but a doctor that did some work for us about 2 years ago on my little one. I was wearing my Hypnotist t-shirt when we went in for the follow-up, and he said, oh, I've always been intrigued in hypnosis. 2 years later, his officers contacted me and said, what's your availability to come to my office, my private office, and show us some techniques, because he's been watching this channel. I'm not allowed to disclose the name, by the way, or the trust that he works for, because obviously there are people out there that would love to get that information and then go phone them up and tell them what's going on. That does happen. You have to remember that's what therapists do. But yes, there is nothing wrong, because I think keeping a psychologist, by the way, and I have taught psychologists before, I teach doctors, because they want to know how direct this stuff is. Don't forget, Dave Ellman used to do this. Dave Ellman used to do what I'm doing now. You know, just teaching doctors and stuff like that. It was only because Milton Erickson said that we're low life. We shouldn't be doing it. You know, something like that. Not everyone with bipolar is under a psych team. No, they're not. Bipolar is often linked to trauma, emotional abuse, and neglect and attachment disruption. I wouldn't want to say no, but on the same token, I think there may be a little bit more. But you're probably right. But I'd probably say that there are more elements to it. There are other elements to it. Not everyone with bipolar is under a psych team. No, absolutely. But they would have been diagnosed to get that from a doctor. So my point being is that if you are going to work with anyone with bipolar, then the doctor, not self-medicated, as long as somebody hasn't self-diagnosed themselves, then that would have come from a doctor. So my point is that you always go back to that point of origins there if it's contraindicated. So that's the way that I would deal with it there. I tell all my students that I think it's just a big safety net, and those people who know, I spoke about what happened in November. I just think it's a great big safety net. I just think that if that happens, then do that. You're probably right that there is some elements of trauma, but I you know, is it caused by other things as well? I don't know. Maybe we can have a chat on that. Maybe you know more than me on that. Yeah. So, but on the same token, the reason I say about contraindicated on bipolar and teaching psychologists is that's great, because if the psychologist is working with that person, then that's brilliant. They can contain that, and they can use hypnosis with that. That's brilliant. What I'm saying is that we are lay people. Most of us are lay people, right? We're scumbuggery in the medical world for some people. But on the same token, is that my point is that if that flashes up, my point is to go back to the point of source, find out if we're good to go, and then go from there, irrespective of where and how it started. All right. And if they are, just a medium, just low level, it's just in the background and not doing much, I can't see any harm in doing it. It's when you've got severe bipolar and you may knock them off. If somebody's on some like lithium based tablet and stuff like that, and you start playing around and playing things up, you never know. You never know. And guys, and I keep saying it, I take myself back to that incident with me with that young girl. And it really has. It's not affected. When I say this, it's not affected me in a bad way, as in like traumatic. But what it has done is it's made me so aware that with my best intentions, you may go in and go, well, I've only got a little bit of bipolar. It's just get on with it. You may trigger a set of events that may sit with you for the rest of your life, because that thing that happened to me in November will stay with me, not as in emotionally, because that bit's done, but it will stay as a concrete learning experience for the rest of my training career. And that's why I'm so keen on contraindicated things. Some people might think, well, you're own over the top. I couldn't give a shit. Until you've been in a situation that I've been in, where somebody passed away a couple of days after a session with me, and it had nothing to do with me, but they chose to take their own life. I think it comes in as I never want anyone to experience what I did. I never ever want to. And there are people watching tonight that did that. Amanda, long story short is that a young lady came to me. She'd already been to Dignitas to end her own life. She decided to end her own life. She'd been to the doctors. She'd been to Switzerland. We knew the date of her death, and she asked me if I could make, if while I was on the last diploma, if I would be so kind to just do some hypnosis with her. She'd like to experience it. She had 2 master's degrees, and oh, really intelligent girl. But on the same token, we did the session on the Thursday, and I believe on the Saturday she took her own life. And I never got right. It just stayed in my head. But even afterwards, people were saying it's not your fault, Carl. She been planning this. You gave her the last 2 days of her life. Apparently, she was really happy, but that's all she wanted. She just wanted that happiness, to feel happiness, and then depart on her own terms. And that's what she did. So at the end of the day, that's what happened. And no family members didn't blame me, doctors didn't blame me, psych team didn't, caring team, they were like that. She'd been storing up all of this kit, and then eventually she chose to do that herself. And that's what happened. All right. And I never want anyone to go through that, because even though I knew deep down it wasn't my fault, I still felt there was some part of me, there was an element. I wouldn't be human to do that. All right. Mario, speak to you tomorrow. So yeah, I'm being honest. The reason I'm being honest with you guys about that story, and I know some people are like, the vultures are swimming around it at the moment. I know there's a couple of people that would love that story, but I'm being honest with you because it could happen to you. Don't forget, we deal with mental health. We never know what's really going on inside. And if somebody chooses to do something, it's not your responsibility. When we were on the course, we had people, God bless them, wanting to encourage her to stay on living. She'd said, no, fuck off. I've made my decision. And it's in a few months' time, I will be departing this planet, and I've made my choice. But then we didn't realize that she'd already made the decision, and she just wanted to feel happy. Her carer said she was so happy on the next day, Carl. She was so happy. We thought you'd done something. And Saturday, she was really happy. And then all of a sudden, she just chose. It's one of those things. It's one of those things, guys. And the reason I tell that story is, and I want it to be out there, and I don't want it to be a secret, is because I want people to think. That's why. I just want you to do that. So yeah, coming off that subject, not that it bothers me, but that's why I say about contraindications. Carla, is there any reason why you don't propagate the face that the client don't? I don't bother with talking about their issues, because the issue is never the issue. Any reason why you don't propagate the face that the clients? No, I don't bother, mate, because I'll tell you now, because I don't believe my interviewing at the very beginning of it is only probably 5-10 minutes, literally on the phone. I don't do anything when they come in. So the key thing is the issue is never the issue. So I never really bother with what they've got to say when they come in, to be brutally honest, because what they're telling me is cognitive bullshit. There you go. What's this? Misperception of hypnotherapy can put the practitioner in a bad corner in the case of suicidal cases. Yeah. I think at the end of the day, I think it's, if somebody's made their mind up, Max, I hope I answered that question. I think it's vitally important that we realize that humans if people have made a decision, then if people have made a decision, that's way before. So just coming on to James just there. Okay. The only consultation I do is on the phone prior to them turning up, and it's my contraindications lesson. Do you have schizophrenia? Do you have bipolar? Do you have this? Do you have that? Do you have this? Do you have narcolepsy? Do you have this? Do you have that? If they answer yes to any of those, then I say, no, you need to speak to your doctor. That is the only consultation I do. That's the only consultation I do. The young lady who took her own life decided to take her own life. We already saw the letter from Dignitas. She'd already decided to take her own life. And I knew that, and that's what comforts me about this, is that I knew that I treated it as palliative care. That's all, the way that I treated the session. I treated it as palliative care. That's all I did. I treated it as, let's give her something nice to float around with and do something nice with in these last few weeks, months, whatever she chooses. And I chose to deal with it as palliative care. And for those people that are members, by the way, you can watch that video, and you can watch the video of me working with her, and you'll see what I mean by that. You know, she chose a path. We did all the background checks. I did everything way above and beyond where I normally would go. Doctors, psych team, caring team, the whole lot. But she'd already made a choice. She'd already made a decision before she even came to me, because she'd been storing up insulin for about 2 or 3 weeks, they reckon. So I hope that answers it. But that's why I did the contraindications. That's why it was so important. I wanted to get that message across the other day. But the contraindications lesson was done the other day. And if you remember, by the way, you can get access to that on the back end of this. Don't forget, guys, this is a membership site. And if you're not a member, please join. You get videos in the background, plus you get mentoring with me. You're more than welcome. You're more than welcome, my friend. Last question. What I mean is advertise that. You don't need to talk about it. Absolutely. Yeah. Like this. People go, well, you don't do any consultation. Well, the only consultation I do is on the phone prior to them turning up, because if they turn up and they go and they're contraindicated, then I'm not going to be working with them. So why not do the consultation prior to them turning up? So I advertise that the issue's never the issue, and we won't be digging around and all that type of stuff. So then we're going along there. So I hope that answers the question. But I do advertise that I'm content free, and that there's no digging up the past and all that type of stuff. But I do. What I will do is I will just go, have you got any contraindications? Is there any contraindications? Do you want this to happen? Is this really for you? And do you really want this? Because some people might be forced into it. And are you happy to go ahead with this? And do you want to be hypnotized? Yes. Good. Fine. Job done. The only question you need to ask really before any hypnosis session is, do you want to be hypnotized? And that's it. Yeah. Nice one, Max. Brilliant. Guys, don't forget, like I just mentioned, it is a membership site. I am now about to knock it on the head because we are at 1 hour. I hope you've enjoyed tonight. It's been fast and frenetic. If I have missed a question or you need to contact me, please go to the website and just email me, and I will endeavor to get back to you ASAP. For those people that are in England, don't forget, I have got a diploma coming up in July. The next one in England is going to be in November. So if anyone's interested in training with me, then please let me know in November. And it's going to be in a place called Bristol. Where's he touring at, eh? Where's he touring at? So, yeah, it's going to be down there. Nice one, Chris. Thanks very much, my friend. You bought the bundle. Yeah, nice one. I think I did see it come through the other day. Thanks very much, my friend. And you'll see all the stuff at the end. You'll get to join the group and all that lot at the end. Like, guys, at the end of the day, I hope you've enjoyed yourself tonight. I hope I've answered all the questions. If I haven't, please ping me an email. Let me know. If you haven't enjoyed it, my name's Paul McKenna. If you did like it, my name's Karl Smith from the UK Hypnosis Academy. Have I missed something from Ludwig there? Ludwig, consider idiomatic responses as the real expression of the unconscious brain. Yeah, cool. Anyway, guys, don't forget, those people that are asking questions here, go into if you're a member, don't forget, we've got the Facebook group. Get into the Facebook group and ask loads of questions in there. And if I've missed anything, go into our Facebook group that belongs to this, get in there. Don't forget, like and share. And I hope you've really enjoyed it tonight, and then go from there. Thanks very much, guys. Don't forget, 7:30 tomorrow night is with a client live in here. So I've got to set the cameras up tomorrow to make sure that I can get a grip of everything that's going on. And Friday, unfortunately, we're not doing Friday due to the fact of bloody this thing is having a night off. They're having they're sorting out all the bloody equipment. What do they call it? They're having a surge or whatever they call it. Anyway, this is off. So I could just go to YouTube, but at the end of the day, it's just have a night off, eh? It's been a bit of a week. Guys, thanks very much. And don't forget, as I say every night, go out there, practice. And when you finish practicing, go practice some more. All right, my friends, go out there and go enjoy yourselves. Be safe. Take care. All the best, my friends.